You hear the wood creak beneath your boots, taste salt on the breeze, and feel ancient names whispered on the wind. Only you and your loyal hound stand on the edge of a world where every single step can become legend. A low mist clings to the deck's planks, shimmering silver in the pale dawn light. Your breath fogs in the chill air as you steady yourself against the sway of the longship, the dragon-headed prow cutting through restless waves. Below you, rowers haul in perfect unison, each stroke a heartbeat of muscle and will, while the hush of the sea seems to listen, waiting for your next move. Behind you, the craggy coastline recedes, dark as an old wound. Home and hearth lie swallowed by fog and memory. There is no turning back. Ahead, the horizon glows faintly gold, a promise and a dare. Your hound, Bruni, pads closer, whiskers damp, eyes bright with unspoken faith. You meet his gaze, lean down to rest a hand on his thick fur, and feel the weight of what lies ahead. You slip out a vial of amber oil, starlight distilled by the shamans of your village, and anoint your temples. The scent of pine and spice fills your senses, sharpening focus. A hush falls over the crew as you raise your voice, low and steady. Brothers, sisters, we sail into legend. Let our oars be thunder, let our hearts be iron. Odin's guidance rides with us. A murmur rises, then surges into a chant, voices rough with salt and hope. For glory, for home, for the song yet to be sung. The ship quivers, as if awakened by your words. You tighten your grip on the rail, eyes fixed on the trembling line where water meets sky. Within that shifting light lies your destiny, uncharted lands, hidden riches, enemies unseen, and dangers unnumbered. Yet even as your pulse races, a quiet certainty settles in your chest. No matter what storms rise, you will face them with blood and bone as one. Bruni lifts his muzzle, scenting the wind, then lets out a single, firm bark. It echoes across the waves like a challenge to the gods themselves. And in that moment, you know the true voyage begins now. A cold wind whips salt spray into your face as the longship surges onward. The chant fades into the rhythmic slap of oars against water. You grab one of the thick leather straps lining the rail and lean forward, peering into the rising sun's glare. No land yet, only the endless expanse, silvered by dawn. Bruni pads to your side, nose low, whiskers trembling at every wave crest. He barks again, sharper this time, and points his muzzle toward the horizon's edge. You follow his gaze and catch the brief flash of another ship's sail, a sliver of deep scarlet, just visible before it disappears behind the swell. Watch, you murmur to the helmsman. Someone sails these seas. We must be ready. The helmsman, a gaunt warrior named Sigurd, eases her grip on the rudder and squints through the spray. Perhaps traitors or worse, she says. On these waters, friends and foes wear the same face. A hush falls over the crew. Some tighten hands on their oars, others check the fit of their seeks and spears. You feel the familiar pulse of tension. The sea is wide, but stranger danger is no less real. The approach. Over the next hour, the scarlet sail cycles into view, cresting a wave crest, then dipping again. You order the helmsman to steer your ship closer under oar power, wind too fickle for your square sail yet. As you close the distance, the other vessel's crew emerges from below decks. 6 figures, garbed in dark cloaks with hoods drawn, faces hidden. Their ship is smaller, built for speed, with sleek lines and oar ports like your own, but only half the height. At 50 paces, that ship veers away, an unmistakable signal of caution. You lift your hand to call off the oars, but Bruni lunges forward, hackles raised. His bark is urgent, warning. A sudden crack of horns sounds from their deck. You frown war horn, not a greeting. Sigurd nods grimly and signals the oars. Keep coming. The test of courage. Your longship draws alongside. The remainder of the red-sailed vessel's crew emerges, hornblowers and archers stepping into view. Their leader, a tall figure with a carved bone mask etched in runes, raises a hand in greeting, 2 fingers in the air. A challenge. You rise fully, planting your feet wide. We mean no harm, you call. Your voice carries across the water. We are traders in knowledge and land if the gods favor us. Who sails with scarlet wind? The masked figure chuckles low. Names are costly, the voice replies, muffled behind bone. But we honor those who row with courage. Prove yours. Deliver me a token from your ship's bow. He points to the carved dragon's head at your prow. Sigurd leans close. That's sacrilege. The dragon's head protects the vessel. To cut or remove it is to doom us all. You nod. I will not desecrate my ship, but I will honor your test. What token suffices? The riddle. The masked one taps the horn's mouthpiece. Bring me a drop of your blood, mix. Ed with the salt of this sea. Let your strength and the ocean's test bind us. A hush, blood and salt, an oath of kinship or enslavement. You glance at Bruni, who stares at you with unwavering trust. You draw your sword, catch the blade's edge in the sun. Then, carefully, you prick your palm on the guard's cross, barely a pinprick. You twist your wrist, catch a single bead of blood in a small flask of seawater. The crimson swirl fades to rose gold. Stepping to the rail, you climb onto the narrow gunwale, balancing blade in hand, flask in the other. Sigurd's sharp eyes follow every step. The masked crew's arbalists level, but they hold their fire. Reaching out, you slide the flask across the gunwale into the waiting hands of a scarlet-cloaked archer. A hush, then the leader lowers his mask to reveal a stern face, a weather-beaten woman with a single scar across her cheek. She dips a finger into the mixture, tastes it, then looks at you. So be it, she says softly. Blood of the bold, salt of the depths, you are true of heart. She turns to her crew. Release their prow. Unspoken alliance. With a nod, her archers sheath their bolts. The other sailors lower their oars. In one smooth motion, the bone-masked leader cuts a thin rope binding her prow's carved serpent head. They shove it overboard, a sign of trust returned. You draw a breath. In return, we sail as allies for now. Name yours, mariner of scarlet wind. The woman inclines her head. I am Frida Bloodtide, she replies. We chart these waters seeking wisdom and safe harbor. Consider us your guides, if your blood and sea oath hold true. You sheath your sword and step down. Bruni leaps beside you, tail wagging in relief. The 2 ships fall into an easy formation, oars dipping in shared rhythm. As you settle back to your place, the vast sea before you no longer seems so daunting. With allies at your side, bound by blood and salt, you feel the surge of possibility. Distant shores ripe for discovery, secrets waiting beneath mist, legends ready to be born. Dusk settles as you and Frida Bloodtide's crew navigate through drifting kelp fields. The twin ships glide side by side, oars dipping in perfect unison as stars emerge like pinpricks in velvet. The air smells of brine and moss, and Bruni's ears perk at every distant splash. Frida stands at her prow, scarlet cloak billowing. She nods toward a dark silhouette rising from the mist, crumbling stone walls crowned by twisted pines. There, she whispers, lies Skaldheim, once a grand library of song and story, now swallowed by time. Your heart thunders. The legends spoke of skalds who penned the world's first epics under a vaulted hall of columns, their verses sealed in rune-carved tomes. If even fragments survive beneath these ruins, your name and your dog's could be etched into new legend. The approach and hidden passage. A sudden swell catches your ship broadside, tossing you against the rail. Waves crash over Frida's deck. Brace, she shouts. Oars drop, crew grips ropes, Bruni curls low, fur matted. Moments later, calm returns, but the island has shifted. Narrow inlets and jagged rocks now loom. Frida traces a channel by the ghostly glow of bioluminescent algae. Trust the blood-tide markers, she says. They shine only where passage is deep enough. Her helmsman guides through a narrow gap, the dragon and serpent prows scraping past barnacled stones. You hold your breath until the hull finds softer water. Behind you, the scarlet sail threads safely through. Cheers rise low and relieved. Entering the ruins. At the island's heart, the two ships moor against weathered pilings. Salt-eaten stairs lead up to a moss-covered courtyard. Frida offers you a torch. Its flame hisses as saltwater drips. The library lies below, she murmurs. The entrance is hidden, seek the carved raven. You and Bruni ascend. The courtyard is silent save for dripping water. Cracked columns stand like skeletal sentinels. In the center, a mosaic of a great raven, wing feathers inlaid with jade and shell, now chipped by centuries. Kneeling, you trace a carved rune at the raven's beak. With a rumble, a section of the stone floor slides aside to reveal winding stairs downward. You squeeze through, torch held high, Bruni at your heel. The Hall of Whispers. Below, a cavern opens into vaulted halls. Faint runes glimmer on walls. The air is thick with dust, and the faint tingle of magic. Your torchlight catches rows of alcoves, empty stone shelves that once held scrolls and tomes. Suddenly, a soft whisper echoes. Read us remember. Bruni growls low, hackles raised. You step forward to an altar carved into the rock. On it lies a single leather-bound codex, its cover embossed with intertwining wolves and ravens. The runes pulse faintly as you approach. Frida's voice whispers from above the stairs. Legends say each codex chooses its reader. You lift the book, feeling a warm thrum through your fingers. The trial of memory. The moment you open the cover, a vision floods your mind. Swirling scenes of ancient skalds chanting beneath torchlight, their voices weaving tapestry of history. You see battles, lovers' farewells, voyages across impossible seas. Words form on the empty pages before you, and in your mind, you hear a challenge. Speak the names of those who came before you, and bind their voices to your own. You hesitate. To master the codex, you must recall names of your ancestors, skalds, warriors, dreamers whose stories were lost to time. You close your eyes and let memory guide you. Asmund the Wanderer Brynja of the North Wind, Eirik the Silent Voice. With each name, the runes glow brighter. Bruni whimpers in encouragement. Finally, you whisper the last name. Sigrid, Seer of the Tide. The codex's runes bloom into brilliant light, illuminating the entire hall. The empty shelves fill with spectral scrolls, ready to be reclaimed. A new covenant. Frida descends, eyes shining. You have awakened Skaldheim, she breathes. Now its knowledge is ours to safeguard and share. You close the codex, feeling its power settle in your grasp. The whispering hush becomes a chorus of voices, ancient skalds eager to speak again. Outside, the tide has turned. Dawn's first light touches the ruins overhead. You and Frida exchange a solemn nod. This is only the beginning of your true quest, to carry these lost stories back to the world, forging new legends in the hearts of those who will listen. With Skaldheim's codex safely stowed, you and Frida prepare to set sail once more. Dawn's pale light filters through shattered columns as your two ships cast off from the ruined quay. Bruni bounds onto the deck, nose twitching at the salty breeze, eager for the next leg of this saga. A gathering storm. Barely an hour out, the wind shifts. Dark clouds coil on the horizon like serpents. Frida's brows knit together. A storm is coming, one unlike any I've seen. Her voice carries the weight of warning. You secure the codex in a watertight chest and lash it tightly to the deck's center. We'll need every hand on the oars, you call, and the crews scramble to reef sails and stow loose gear. Minutes later, rain lashes down, turning decks slick and treacherous. Waves tower like dark walls, lashing the hulls with bone-jarring force. Thunder rolls like the drumbeat of giants. You stand at the prow, Bruni at your side, gripping the rail as the ship pitches. Sigurd leans in behind you. Keep the codex below. If it gets wet, she shakes her head. You nod. Bruni, stay close. He whines, but instead darts to the helm, nudging the helmsman's shoulder with comforting confidence. Test of the waves. For 2 grueling hours, you battle the storm. Your muscles burn from hauling ropes. The cold rain stings every exposed inch of skin. Yet even as you fight, you sense the codex's power humming through the keel, an almost imperceptible warmth rising from below. A monstrous wave looms ahead, curling like a fist. Sigurd shouts, hard to port. Bruni barks, urging you to move. You shift the rudder, and the longship's nose climbs the wave's face. For a heart-stopping moment, you hang in silver air, then plunge into white foam. Below deck, guards shield the chest, sweat and water dripping onto its iron bands. The ship creaks, timbers groan in protest, but hold. At last, the storm relents. The clouds peel back to reveal bruised skies and a sliver of muted sunlight. Crew members collapse, gasping, but alive. You stand dripping at the rail, Bruni's head resting against your leg. Around you, battered oars dip in exhausted unison. Bonds forged in tempest. Frida joins you, her scarlet cloak torn and dark with salt. She offers a flask of spiced mead. You take it gratefully, the warmth spreading through your chest. You held us through, she says softly. By your blood and Bruni's loyalty, we survived. You nod, eyes on the horizon. The codex chose well. Below, a fresh breeze fills the sail. The ocean's surface begins to shimmer again, a promise of calmer waters ahead. Political winds. 2 days later, As the coastline of your homeland rises from mist, Frida's voice grows hushed. Not all who welcome you will rejoice. She points to a fortified lighthouse on a headland, its banners unfamiliar. You glance at the codex's chest and steel yourself. Our people must see these stories, but someone may seek to claim them for power. Sigurd adds, the local lord collects rare tomes. He'll want the codex for his library or his own glory. Bruni lifts his muzzle, ears forward. You pat his head. We'll disembark under his gaze, but the codex remains ours. Landfall and unseen eyes. Your longship glides into the harbor as villagers gather on the quay. Frida's vessel follows. At the shore, the Lord's herald, plumed and pompous, steps forward, parchment in hand. By decree of Lord Arnulf, he proclaims, no relic of Skaldheim may enter this realm without royal sanction. A hush falls, you step forward, hand on the chest's iron latch. I bring not relics for lords, but stories for all. Let the people choose. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Frida stands at your back, sword at her hip. Behind her, your united crews form a protective line. The herald falters, then bows. My lord awaits your answer at the castle gate. Come, or forfeit the codex to the crown. You meet Frida's eyes. Her jaw sets. Then to the castle, you say, but the stories go wherever the people gather. Bruni barks once, a fierce note of loyalty. Together, you march up the stone steps, codex in hand, forging not just an alliance with Frida, but a new legend for your homeland. The castle's towering walls loom like silent sentinels as you ascend the broad stone steps, codex cradled against your chest. Bruni walks beside you, cloak of crimson, fur brushing the guards' spears. Frida falls in beside you, her eyes sharp for any sign of betrayal. Inside the main gate, torches flare and banners of deep green and gold, Arnulf's sigil, flutter overhead. A hush falls over the gathered retainers as you approach the dais where Lord Arnulf presides, flanked by advisors in silk robes and armored knights. His gaze is keen, assessing, as you step forward. Welcome, travelers, he intones, voice smooth as river stones. You bring claim to a relic of legend. Yet here, all serves the crown's decree. Will you relinquish it as right demands? You lock eyes with Frida. A slight nod, then you address the court. My lord, this codex belongs not to any one ruler, but to the people. Its songs and stories shall awaken hearts, not feed ambitions. I offer you its knowledge, a public reading in your great hall, so all may judge its worth. A murmur ripples through the nobles. Arnulf's lips twitch in what might be approval or amusement. A bold request, he says. Very well, we shall assemble the court and the common folk. Let the codex speak. The great hall reading. An hour later, the grand hall is filled, knights in polished armor, ladies in velvet kirtles, and villagers seated on benches carved from oak. Tapers flicker along the high walls. You stand at a raised platform, codex before you. Bruni sits obediently at your side. Frida stands guard near the door. Lord Arnulf watches from his high seat, silent and inscrutable. You clear your throat. Hearken, all who gather. These are the words of ancestors lost to time. May they guide us still. With a steady hand, you open the codex to its first page. Ancient runes glow faintly. You begin to read. In the age before names, the wind bore witness to our deeds. We carved our stories on stone that they might outlast even our bones. As the words flow, the hall grows hushed. Knights lean forward, villagers grip each other's hands. Even Arnulf's stern facade softens ever so slightly. A shadow's plot. Halfway through, a commotion at the back draws your eye. A cloaked figure slips through a side door, noble garb beneath. Frida notices and tightens her grip on her sword. You continue reading, voice unwavering. But sense the moment shifting, the codex's magic stirring more than memory. Suddenly, a shout rings out. Seize them. 2 armored guards dash forward. The cloaked figure leaps from a balcony and lands behind the dais. A swift blade glints as he lunges toward Arnulf, but Frida intercepts, sword ringing against steel. Bruni springs, teeth bared. Chaos erupts as knights and guards clash. Defense of the Codex. You shout, protect the Codex. Sigurd and other rowers surge to form a circle around the stand. The reading halts. The glowing runes dim as your hand slides to your sword hilt. You wade into the fray, steel meeting steel. Across the hall, Frida grapples with the would-be assassin. You see Arnulf stagger back, defended by loyal knights. Blow after blow is exchanged. You parry a thrust aimed at your chest, riposte driving the attacker back. Bruni charges another guard, advancing on the Codex. Stand, growl low and fierce, forcing him to retreat. Within moments, the cloaked figure falls, disarmed by Frida's blade, and the guards surge in to seize him. The hall falls eerily still. Aftermath and loyalties. Steam rises from Frida's sword as she stands over the fallen conspirator, breathing hard. You wipe your blade on your cloak and approach Arnulf, who stands supported by his advisor. My lord, you say, voice calm, the Codex drew danger, but it also revealed true loyalties. I trust you see that our cause is just. Arnulf studies the fallen man, your would-be assassin, then turns to you. Indeed, he says quietly, the songs of old speak truths some would kill to suppress. Rise, travelers. The Codex remains under my protection. The conspirator is dragged away. The hush lifts, the crowd erupts in relieved murmurs. Frida lowers her sword. Bruni bounds to your side, tongue lolling, eyes bright with triumph. A new alliance. Later in the castle's solar, Arnulf pours wine. He raises a cup to you. You and this Codex have more courage than many knights in my court. I pledge my banner to your quest. Let Skaldheim's stories be heard throughout the realm. You lift your cup to stories that bind us and to friends found in the storm. Bruni barks in agreement. Outside, torches glow along the parapets, as if heralding the beginning of a new saga, one that you, Frida, and your faithful hound will write together. The fortress gates swing open at dawn, bathing you, Frida, and your loyal hound Bruni in the pale light of early morning. Alongside Lord Arnulf's banner, your 2 longships glide past the harbor, this time bearing not only warriors, but a small retinue of scholars, scribes, and curious townsfolk drawn by tales of Skaldheim's Codex. Departing the northern shores. As you push off, Frida stands at the bow of her ship, wind tousling her hair. To the south, she declares. There, in the city of Lysoria, the greatest scribes gather. They will copy the Codex, ensuring its verses endure. You nod, eyes on the receding cliffs. And we must guard it, word of its power will spread, drawing both allies and adversaries. Below decks, scholars pore over hastily drawn maps. One young scribe, Merrick, approaches you with wide eyes. Master, how shall we begin? The codex's runes, they shift beneath the hand. You rest a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Patience, Merrick. First, we secure safe passage through the Silver Gulf. Then, once in Lysoria's harbor, we find a secure hall where your quills and inks may work undisturbed. Bruni offers a soft bark, as if pledging his vigilant watch. The Silver Gulf Passage. The Silver Gulf lives up to its name. By midday, the sea gleams like polished metal. Yet half its beauty lies in its dangers, hidden reefs and sudden squalls. Spanish merchants once whispered of ghost shoals here, islands that vanish and reappear with the tide. Sigurd plots a careful course, aided by Frida's helmsman, Svala. When the first reef looms, just visible beneath the water's surface, Bruni, senses honed by countless voyages, lets out a sharp yelp and points with his paw. The helmsman veers, oars hauling, and your ship glides past as Frida's vessel follows suit. The crew breathes relief. Merrick nearly drops his rolled maps. Lysoria's golden spires. 3 days later, the spires of Lysoria rise in the distance, sunlight glancing off gilded domes and marble facades. A bustling port city, Lysoria thrums with merchants, pilgrims, and troubadours. Your ships dock at the Scholar's Quay, a district marked by libraries and scriptoria. Frida and you lead the procession to the great scriptorium, an ivory hall surrounded by gardens of laurel and fountain sprays. Inside, Master Scribe Helena awaits. Cloaked in ink-stained robes, she curtsies. I have heard the codex's call in my dreams, she says. Let us begin. Establishing the scriptorium. You and Frida oversee the setup of long wooden tables, sharpened quills, and inkwells filled with rare violet pigments. The codex rests on a carved lectern at the room's center, under protective glass. Helena assigns tasks. Merrick and 2 junior scribes transcribe the first scroll. Etta, a rune specialist, studies the glowing script's magic. Old Thane, a scholar of oral tradition, records the spoken verses alongside. As quills scratch parchment, a hush falls, a reverent silence broken only by the drip of fountain water. Whispered threats. That night, you sense a ripple of unease. From the courtyard below, Frida catches shadowy figures slipping along the walls. By torchlight, she sees 3 cloaked spies, whispering in hushed tones and glancing toward the scriptorium windows. Assassins, or worse, she murmurs. They came for the codex once, they'll try again. You draw your sword. We must guard it at all costs. Post a watcher at each gateway. Bruni leaps to your side, hackles raised. Together, you patrol the corridors, blade and bark united. A nocturnal defense. At midnight, a soft click echoes through the hall as the outer door latch lifts. 2 figures slip in, blades drawn, faces hidden beneath hoods. Frida and you spring from the shadows. In a flurry of steel, you parry a dagger aimed at the glass case. Bruni springs between, teeth bared. One assassin snarls and leaps back, but another lunges. Frida's sword arcs, catching the attacker's wrist. The blade clatters to the floor. The would-be thieves flee, one disappearing through the door, the other hauled off by Frida's swift grip. Silence returns. The scriptorium's scholars awaken, but Helena raises a calming hand. The codex remains safe, she says gravely. Its words must continue to flow. The second scroll unveiled. By dawn, the first scroll's transcription is complete, a translucent vellum filled with glowing runic verses. Helena presents it to you. Read it aloud, so we may hear the ancient song. You step to the lectern and begin. Beneath the iron sky, the skalds stood true, their voices carved in wind, and carried by following tides. Your voice resonates. At each verse, Edda murmurs the corresponding magical resonance. As the final words echo, a warm pulse radiates from the codex, a testament that the old magic endures. The scholars bow. Marek wipes tears from his ink-stained cheek. Frida nods, pride and relief mingling on her face. You close the lectern's glass. The stories live on, you say softly. Let no darkness claim them again. Bruni barks as if to say, and we will see to that. Weeks pass as the scholars labor, and Lysoria's courts buzz with news of the reclaimed codex. Frida, you and Bruni are summoned before Duchess Imran, regent in the absence of her ailing brother. Silk banners hang alongside tapestries depicting heroic hunts, yet none so storied as Skaldheim's verses. The audience chamber. The grand audience chamber glows by torchlight. Duchess Imran sits on a marble dais, advisors flanking her. Below, nobles and guild representatives murmur as you enter, codex in its secure case held by Frida. The Duchess inclines her head. Your quest honors all our realm, but knowledge is power, and power courts peril. I offer you my protection for a price. You exchange a glance with Frida. Speak your terms, you reply. Imran's eyes gleam. The codex must be copied in full, 3 scrolls in 3 tongues. 1 for the crown archives, 1 for the merchant guilds to foster trade routes, and 1 to remain with your people. In return, I grant you safe passage and my army's escort against any who would steal it. Frida steps forward. We accept so long as the people, not ambition, guide its use. The Duchess nods. So be it. Let the scribes begin. The Merchant Guild's Grand Hall. Next, you traverse to the Merchant Guild Hall, a cavernous space hung with silken veils and gold chandeliers. Guild masters, draped in velveteen robes, press forward. A stout merchant named Gavel presents a ledger. Our caravans span these lands. With your stories, we can bind distant towns in shared culture and commerce. We pledge wagons and guards for your homeward journey. You uncase the second scroll, the Ballad of the Iron Wolves, a tale of hunter warriors whose courage saved a king. Holding it aloft, you say, may these words forge new alliances and warm cold hearts. The guildmasters bow, sealing the pact with wax seals. The third scroll and farewell feast. That night, a feast at the scriptorium courtyard celebrates the triple blessings. Lanterns sway over tables of roasted game and spiced wine. Minstrels play lutes, weaving melodies to accompany skaldic recitations. You stand, Codex's final transcription in hand, and address the gathered crowd. These scrolls carry more than words. They carry our shared memories, our hopes, and our voices across time. May they guide all who read them and bring unity where there was none. Bruni stands at your side, tail wagging amid the applause. Frida raises her goblet. To stories, to friends, and to the journeys yet to come. Dawn's chill greets you, as the caravan winds its way into the Smokeville Mountains. Silver mists swirl around peaks that claw at the sky. Lord Arnulf's banner flies at the lead, followed by merchant wagons, Frida's ship crew marching on foot, and your longship crew beside them, Bruni forging ahead, nose to the ground. Into the highlands, riders in heavy cloaks guide the column along narrow ledges. You steady the third scroll, the final copy, against your chest beneath your cloak. Each step echoes on stone. The air thins, even Bruni's panting grows louder. Sigurd rides up beside you. Bandit raids are common here, she warns. They've learned of the scroll's value. You nod, keep eyes sharp and swords ready. Bruni barks, alert to sounds you cannot yet hear. The ambush. Halfway through the pass, torches flicker above the path. Before you can sound alarm, arrows rain down from hidden ledges. Horses whinny, wagons screech as drivers struggle to rein them in. Shouts and chaos erupt. Frida draws her sword, stepping between a falling merchant and the path's edge. Hold steady, she shouts. Knights form a shield wall. You draw your blade, Bruni close, and charge toward the bandits' flickering torches. Clash on the ledges. Bandits clad in patchwork leather rush from hidden caves, blades glinting. One leaps at you, you parry, knocking him back. Bruni leaps atop another, barking fiercely until the man falls into the pass below. Frida engages two on her flank, steel ringing steel. Behind you, Sigurd shields a wounded scribe, urging him to safety. Arrows continue to hiss. You raise your shield to catch the next, then hurl it back as a flying disc, clattering into a bandit's knees. Protecting the scroll. Amidst the melee, a bandit sneaks past to snatch the scroll from your cloak. You spin, catching his wrist in your hand and twisting. He drops the parchment. You kick it clear, then drive your blade home non-lethal, but enough to disable. The fallen scroll flutters onto the rocky ground, but our Squire Merrick dashes in, snatching it up and stowing it safely. You nod at him, pride and relief mingling in your gaze. Victory and loss. An arrow narrowly misses Frida. She snaps her head, eyes blazing, and cuts down her assailant. The combined force of knights, merchants, and your crew pushes the bandits back. Bruni's barks rally the fighters until the attackers retreat into the mists, leaving groans and dropped weapons behind. The pass falls silent. You sheath your sword and check on Frida. She breathes hard, but blood turns out to be from a shallow cut. Sigurd tends to the wounded. You retrieve the scroll, dust it off. Safe, you mutter. Bruni licks your hand as if to confirm. Descent to the valley. With bandits driven off, the caravan recommences. The path narrows further. Sunlight breaks through the peaks, guiding you down into a lush valley. Wildflowers dot the roadside, a stark contrast to the rocky heights. At the valley's mouth lies your homeland's border keeper, an old friend who salutes as you pass. Welcome back, he says. The people wait to hear your words. You breathe deeply, relief flooding you. Frida rides alongside, handing you a fresh cloak. We made it, she smiles. Bruni barks once more, tail high. Together, you lead the procession home, scrolls intact, legend renewed, and the promise of a festival of stories awaiting your arrival. The village's narrow streets overflow with banners and lanterns as word of your return spreads. From dawn's first light, farmers, weavers, and fishermen gather, drawn by the promise of Skaldheim's scrolls. The air hums with anticipation, mingled scents of fresh bread, smoked fish, and sweet mead. The procession to the great hall. At mid-morning, you lead the procession down the main thoroughfare. Frida walks beside you in polished mail, Bruni bounding ahead, heralding your approach with a joyous bark. Behind, Lord Arnulf's knights bear the first 2 scrolls in gilded chests, while scholars carry the third. Villagers line the route, cheering and tossing flower petals. Children perched on hay bales wave handmade pennants. Elders press forward, eyes glistening. Even the town's stoic smiths pause their hammers, nodding in respect. At the great hall steps, you pause to raise your hand. People of our land, today we reclaim the songs of our ancestors, voices once lost, now returned through blood, salt, and unwavering courage. A roar rises, echoing against stone walls. Unveiling the scrolls. Inside the great hall, long tables grown under rural bounty, barrels of ale, platters of roast boar, bowls of root stews. At the center, a dais holds 3 pedestals draped in white linen. One by one, you place each scroll upon its stand. Crown Archive scroll, bound in sapphire blue leather, its runes glowing faintly. Merchant Guild scroll, sealed with vermilion wax, promising shared trade and culture. People's scroll, simple vellum, tied with hemp, symbolizing collective memory. You step forward to the first scroll. Bruni sits obediently at your feet. Let the reading begin. The first reading. With Frida guarding the chamber's entrance, you open the Crown Archive scroll. Lord Arnulf and Duchess Imran stand together as you read. In the beginning, when the world was young, the winds bore songs across the empty seas. In those melodies, we found our names. As the verses flow, a hush falls over nobles and commoners alike. Tears spring in more than one eye. The old magic stirs, torches flicker bright, and the faint echo of chanting seems to drift from the walls themselves. When you finish, Arnulf bows deeply. By these words, my reign shall honor our past and guide our future. Music and dance. Minstrels strike up a lively tune on fiddles and lutes. The hallmates join hands in circles, dancing a reel that dates back before any living memory. Bruni's tail wags in time as children mimic the steps clumsily. You raise a goblet of spiced mead. To our ancestors, may their songs live forever. Glasses clink, laughter rings out, and for a moment, the hall is one heart beating in celebration. The merchant tribute. Next, the Merchant Guild scroll is unsealed by Gavel, the stout merchant. He reads an excerpt. Through shared tales, kingdoms unite. Through open roads, prosperity flows like rivers. Outside the hall, decorated wagons carry festival goers beyond the gates for markets, showcasing goods from distant lands. Silk, spices, and trinkets, woven with motifs from Skaldheim's legends. The People's Pledge. Finally, the simple people's scroll rests in your hands. You address the crowd. These words belong to every one of you. Let them guide our children, our fields, and our festivals. Wear these stories in your hearts and pass them on in song and speech. Villagers take turns stepping forward to kiss the scroll and pledge. I will keep our tales alive. Bruni receives playful pats. You smile broadly. Epilogue, a new dawn. As twilight deepens, torches illuminate a fina. El tableau, you, Frida, and Bruni, standing before a great bonfire in the village square. The villagers circle around, faces alight with fire and joy. A skald sings verses from the codex, and the flames dance in response. You rest a hand on Bruni's head. Our journey began on stormy seas and hidden isles, you murmur. But it ends here, in the laughter and song of our people. Frida squeezes your shoulder. And tomorrow, the next scroll awaits discovery. With that promise echoing in the night, you watch the flames, knowing that the true legacy of Skaldheim's codex will burn ever brighter in the hearts of all who heard its stories this day.